Uh, no chance in hell, or is there a chance in hell?
Apparently, there's a chance in hell, and there's quite a few people who ain't happy about it, including myself.
Yeah. So we did a. This is a two-parter. This is our second part. We did an episode yesterday. It kind of went all over the place. But I thought it had a good flow. I went back through and I listened to it just to kind of see where we were at with it. And look, we talked some Christmas music. We talked some other things, some wrestling notes. But at the end, Richie, who doesn't join us just now, he may pop on. If not, then we'll get his take on a future episode. Brought up a really good question as to what we thought of the potential return of Vincent Kennedy McMahon to the WWE. So I think that's a nice wide topic to discuss. So I don't know. What your initial thoughts on hearing that news?
No, no, there's no reason for it. My initial thoughts are no. Um, we had speculated when the whole thing went down in the beginning that maybe it wasn't actually what it seemed as far as him not being involved. Um, but as the storylines progressed, as the weeks went by, I don't know about you, but I was kind of convinced that, yeah, you know what? There's the Vince stink is gone from the product. It just seemed like it was a different product. Like there was a new energy, like there was a new, uh, not to, not to make a pun here, but it seemed like it was a new day.
Right. No, you're completely right. So you basically have things like wrestlers are getting their names back. And when we say that, there's a long history there of basically them giving them a name anyway, for copyright purposes, so they can make money on it. So they own the property and they can make money for now until the end of eternity, basically. But then they would take these people and just lob off part of their name, and it was getting to be really, really ridiculous. Um,
Yeah.
and in certain cases, I was somewhat okay with it, never really cared for it. But it started with like Antonio Cesaro is a great example. You know, now he went by Cesaro, and I think after time that worked out, particularly whenever he's doing his work with Sheamus in the bar. Both one name wrestlers, but Sheamus is another example. Sheamus actually started with the last name. So it's been a long history of these wrestlers lobbing off names. But then they started making like really ridiculous name changes. Pete Dunne is the perfect example. Let's just call him Butch. And you and I have talked about that before. Look, there's already been a Butch. He was a bushwhacker. We don't need
Yeah.
to revisit
But
that one.
Budge?
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Like so the Triple H is in charge essentially with Stephanie and um, Nick Khan. So this is the post Vince McMahon era here in the last several months. So basically, you have several wrestlers getting their names back, getting better pushes. Um, People that maybe were moved down on the card or maybe forgotten about. So I mean, the last several months have just looked awesome. Really has. So as you put it, that Vince McMahon stink was gone. So I don't know what was your take, just kind of thinking about how the last several months have gone with, like I said, something as really simplistic as wrestlers getting their names back, but the storylines that you're aware of, or maybe something match quality, or some of these, the pay-per-view premium live event stuff, any of that stuff. What really resonates with you?
So, I mean, it's everything. It's the match quality seems like it's gotten better. The storyline quality has gotten better. Um, you know, People have been given a chance to shine. Now there's certain people who haven't, like Mustafa Ali comes to mind. He's still been kind of getting the shaft. He did ask for his release, so you wonder if it has something to do with that. But
Right.
um, for the most part, I mean, Triple H is bringing back people that we thought were unjustly released. The Good Brothers. There's storyline there, and yet they were cut, and it didn't make sense. Bray Wyatt, which let me tell you, it's moving slow. It's moving too slow, if you ask me. But I like the way that storyline is progressing. We finally got to see Uncle Howdy in person. Now, whether it was actually whoever is going to be playing Uncle Howdy or if it was like just a stand-in, it doesn't matter. Uncle Howdy was actually in the building for the showdown with LA Knight the other night. We're getting John Cena back for a one-night thing. Look, Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is finally in a position where he's actually thriving. He's reaching the heights of popularity that we knew he could reach, but that it seemed like WWE didn't think he could reach. And even with that, I don't think that they thought he could do anything with this role necessarily, or maybe they did. I don't know. But it seems like it wasn't supposed to get as hot as it has. It's grown organically, which you can't buy that. You can't force that. It's just something that happens. Hence it being organic. It's incredible though to see what that storyline has even become. There's just so much that's changed since Vince has been gone, and I just really hope that they just figure out a way to keep him out, because the product has undeniably gotten better. And
Yeah, no, without a doubt. And you mentioned, and I'd like to discuss that too. Bray Wyatt coming back is an obvious, Triple H, come back to the family fold. I'm sure the dollar signs are right, but the storyline's fantastic. I think it is. I think stuff I've read sometimes doesn't necessarily flesh out with my opinion, and I think that's the great thing about wrestling. There's something for everybody type thing. We've had that conversation before. I do agree. I think you're right. I think it's moving along slowly, but it's moving along in the right direction. I think, and the payoff is going to be amazing. That's all I'm saying with that whole bit. And I think it's going to be great. But that's a great long-term storytelling. Which, how often do you even see that anymore?
right.
Particularly under Vince. There really wasn't, especially toward the last, maybe 10, 15 years. The last real good long-term storytelling we got, and this is going to sound really funny saying this, probably dates back to the Attitude Era. You had, what was the famous series of 7 matches, and I'll bring it back up, between Sheamus and Cesaro that led them to becoming the tag team. Okay, great. Long-term storytelling. You could probably pick and choose pieces like that, but like you go back through the last 15, 20 years, probably not a whole lot there. Now there is. And maybe some of that was set in motion with Vince. Roman Reigns holding the title for as long as he has. This whole bloodline build has been really, really good. It actually finally makes Roman interesting to the masses. But Triple H is the one that's pressing the right buttons. He's making the right decisions. You mentioned Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is just off the charts in this group. I think he's incredible anyway. But I mean, come on, like the guy, like it turns what is essentially a comedy role into just this, I don't know, epic member of a group who, to me, is outshining everyone else in it at this point. Maybe even including Roman himself. But it's interesting. The people that have come back to the fold, I've mentioned him many times, but Dexter Lumis, it's fantastic to see him back. KO really getting the nice push, more so than he had been. And, I guess that's kind of maybe not the best thing, maybe not the best example. Seeing that he had a heck of a match with Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania, but you know what I mean? I think he's like in relevant storylines. He's not
Right.
he's not just a workhorse. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say, is that I think his booking is a little bit better. I don't know. It's just I am in 100% agreement that, Vince doesn't need to come back at all. However, my feeling is that I don't know that he ever left completely.
Right.
Now, what he's had control over, I don't know. But it's one thing to say that you retired and stepped away from your post, and it's another thing to actually have done it. And I just don't know that he has. Of course, I'm speculating here, but the guy basically lived and breathed that company his entire life. Could you legitimately walk away, regardless of
Yeah, I
what
mean,
your allegations or your whatever were against you? You know?
that was his baby. He took it over from his father, and it was a territory, and he turned it into a global juggernaut. You know, I can't see him giving it up that easy. I don't know, man. I always thought he would die before he gave up control.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought, and I thought, he's gonna be to a point. Well, two things. I thought maybe, yeah, I thought death was the final, you know, exit for him. It sounds sad to say it that way, but as far as turning over control, or that he just got to a point where he was just so old and that he just could not, you know, do the daily business stuff anymore with it, or just do any business with it. I think he's got his finger on the pulse still. I don't know that I think it's pretty evident that some of the storyline stuff that shows up on TV. Um, I really honestly think that his creative is really, if he does anything with it anymore, it's got to be very minimal. Almost like, hey, yeah, you have a say in maybe a storyline. And I think that's why maybe you still get like a goofy thing here and there. I don't know. I'm just
Yeah,
it's speculating again. Because you still have some goofy, campy crap that happens. But the my thing is this: with all these allegations and whatever happens court wise, as far as I know, this stuff is still tied up. Am I correct in that?
I believe you're right. Yeah,
I mean, these allegations against him are not light, and it seems to be that there's more coming out. Not every day, but there's more that have come out since we've last spoke on here about this.
right.
Um, I don't know that it would be in their best interest to have him come back, as a named, even behind the scenes, like, oh yeah, he's back to work.
Right.
That's not a good look for the company.
No, not at all. Being a publicly traded company and the way that they, um, I mean, not for nothing, but Mandy Rose was doing legal stuff that could potentially paint the company in a bad light, and she was fired for that.
Yeah,
It,
I saw that. So let's just try to wrap that story up too. She was basically posting. It wasn't OnlyFans, but it was a similar website, doing content. Now, again, I don't know. I don't never seen it, so I have no clue, no frame of reference. But yeah, she basically got fired for essentially selling her character in a more provocative light, through a third party, is
right.
my understanding. So,
Yeah, she and since she got fired, she made, I forget how many days it took after she got fired, but I think it was like in the 48 hours after she got fired, she made
yeah,
$500,000
it's
from that
crazy.
venture alone. So she made the right fucking choice, you know.
Yeah, entrepreneur, whatever she's gonna do. I don't have a clue what she's doing. I don't know.
I have a feeling I believe it's some kind of like risque photography. I don't think it's like pornography, but I believe she's like, if not in like completely undressed, it's in like various stages of undress.
Yeah, that's
Um,
kind of what I assumed. I don't
but
know, but I mean,
hey,
look,
man, if you got it and you can make money off it, fucking do it.
and here's the funny thing: on the converse, we have again, like, like you and I've read our fair share of dirt sheet websites over the years. I saw speculation of Eva Marie coming back again, who she just came back in a short run and got released again. There's just something going on because look, it's one thing to be beautiful, it's another thing to be beautiful and have talent. And she certainly, to me, has never had any wrestling talent at all. And it's a shame to be like, oh yeah, come back again and steal someone else's spot, just for 2 minutes on a Monday Night Raw every 3 weeks. But here, it's like you still have your missteps, and I don't know. Again, look, I have no stake in it. I have no dog in the fight. I did it one time. I used to actually have some WWE stock, and made some money on it and got rid of it because I made some money on it and probably got rid of it at the wrong time because I could have made even more money on it. But it sucks because being a lifelong fan of wrestling and have always appreciated different, the eras of it, going back to the Attitude Era and the 80s classic era that we grew up in with, Macho Man and Hogan and Warrior and whatever. I really appreciate it. And then even now, I love, like, today is probably the greatest talent roster they've ever had.
Yeah.
And it's still like, yeah, every time we have a mention of Vince now, man, it's like eggshells. And it's like, you guys better make the right move or you're going to completely torpedo yourselves because you have another entity waiting in the wings in AEW that could sit there and pounce,
And honestly, let's be realistic. We've never really considered. Well, I have never really considered TNA or Impact or whatever you want to call it to be a major, a major foil for WWE. But they've really been stepping up their game. Still don't know where the fuck to watch them, but if WWE falters and Impact happens to get some kind of contract on some kind of decent TV channel where like people know where to fucking find it, it could do some damage.
Yeah, no, actually, Kyler, who's been on here before, a great good friend of ours, he actually went to Impact TNA taping up. It's been about a month or so ago, but he said, "Hey, whenever it hits," and he's subsequently sent me the link, and I'll send it to you. I haven't got a chance to watch it yet, but it was an hour-long match between Josh Alexander and Speedball Mike Bailey, and he just said it's just incredible. And it's like, you don't have any hour-long matches on anything anymore, So that's just, we got to check that. I have to check that one out. It's pretty awesome, from what he says, and I certainly, from everything I've heard about Impact's quality, the last year or two, it would not surprise me, of how good it could, how good that is and how good their stuff could be. I agree. I think they just. I think they've had the unfortunate thing of let's find ourselves on the absolute worst time slot on the worst network against possibly the absolute, worst things ever that are going to, you know what? That's probably like the eighth thing I would watch,
Yeah. No, exactly. It's just one of them things where you're like, well, what the fuck? What if I could do that, or I could go to sleep and get a decent night's rest before work tomorrow.
Yeah, and quite frankly, I don't even put enough time into watching big product stuff now. Whether that's WWE or AEW. Occasionally, I would flip on Rampage on Friday nights. That was kind of like my AEW fix, just because like Friday night television, there wasn't a whole lot going on. That's what I like to do.
You mean you don't watch TGIF with Family Matters and Full House and Boy Meets World?
It's still on?
It's not still on?
Oh man, I guess I could have rewatched it and put the old tapes in. And no, it sucks though because it's like I mentioned this on part one of our bit here. I used to watch Ring of Honor like weird hours because it was like Saturday morning, 10 a.m. and there's nothing else on, of course I'm going to watch wrestling because that's what we did as kids. For one, it's kind of nostalgic. But you know, that's how I got kind of my fix of Ring of Honor. I didn't watch all the time, but it was really cool seeing like some of these guys come through that eventually made their time in the WWE or whatever. But it's I think you're right. All it's going to take is maybe the right TV contract and just maybe a couple more moves, put a couple of wrestlers over there, and I think they can make some waves. Because I don't know. That's my only thing with this whole Vince McMahon coming back potentially is that this could possibly be the Plaxico Burress incident.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And I could definitely see Vince McMahon having a gun in his pocket and shooting himself at a club.
I mean, it sucks because it's like we shouldn't even be having this conversation personally.
No.
Doesn't belong anywhere near where it's at now, mainly because it's going so well.
Right. Just let it actually play out. Let it actually, God, give it, even if he comes back, let it have a year of no Vince. Just let us have a year to enjoy it. Because, quite frankly, we've suffered enough.
Yeah, I think we've had I don't know, our entire lives.
Yeah. I think it's time. I mean, it's well past time. I know it's well past time for Vince to go off to the big ring. Not well, I was gonna say the big ring in the sky, but I don't want him to die. I just don't want him to be fucking involved with WWE.
Right, yeah.
Like, let him go. Let him set up his own catering and hire people to play wrestlers, and then let Vince go to fake catering with the fake wrestlers.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. Get him some big meaty men slapping meat.
There you go. So, all right. So we were going to keep this kind of Christmas theme. We did music yesterday. We're going to get off this topic of Vince and wrestling and stuff. We're going to kind of wrap it back around to some Christmas stuff here. Christmas movies.
Before you go on, I figured out what I need for Christmas.
Okay, go ahead.
I keep seeing them fucking everywhere. Do you see those like, they're not gloves, but they're kind of gloves where they go in your hand and they have the flashlights so that when you're working on shit, you don't have to have somebody hold a flashlight, or you don't have to like cram it under your fucking shoulder and stuff.
I do, because I just gave my dad one for Christmas.
Nice. Dude, I was changing the cabin air filter on my car today, and I was fucking losing my mind because I'm like, God damn it, I can't fucking hold a flash. I can't do the flashlight and this. I was fucking losing it, man. So like that is what I want for Christmas. And I hope someone, like, because nobody's gonna think of that. I guarantee you nobody fucking thinks to get those.
Right.
So,
yeah, no, that's what actually, it's funny. Danielle found them. It was my dad's a big flashlight person. So she's like, yeah, let's just give these to him. And it was a pretty good one. But actually the one I found, because same thing, I hate working on stuff and having to hold something. Do you know the Lowe's brand Cobalt?
Yeah.
So years ago they made a flashlight that's flex, and you could you could hold it, or you could flex it and put it around your neck. And then but it's really strong flex, so you can point it in whatever direction you want. That's the one I use, and it's awesome. And it was cheap too. It was like $20 back in the day. They made them for a couple of years. Well, they stopped making them, and it was because of course, good idea. You might as well,
Right.
The thing I liked about it was that it, on the end, it came down and you could take the battery out and it was rechargeable.
Oh, cool.
So it wasn't like D batteries or whatever. So and it was magnetic. So the recharger, you could take, and you had to have extra batteries. The extra batteries are magnetic, so you could stick them places without having to worry about losing them.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and like I said, it was cheap. It's like $20 or whatever it was. Well, because it was such a cool, and it was really heavy duty for what it was. I believe, and now, like the last time I looked, because my dad's a big fan of them, like he bought a bunch of them because he like loved them. He was giving them out as gifts and stuff. Um, like they were going for well over 100 a piece.
Fuck.
Yeah, and like it's really really nice because like that's how like whenever I've had to get in like crawl spaces and stuff and get in the corners where I really can't see anything because the light doesn't reach back there. Like I've always had something around my neck, and that's what I use. It's like it's perfect, But I don't know. Anyway,
Well, that's that is because I was looking at that, or because like now I've got a workbench, and I plan on doing some little modifications and whatnot to some systems, and I was thinking maybe. God, you're boring me to death. I'm yawning over here.
yeah, I know. Yeah,
No,
it's all good.
no, I was thinking about trying to teach myself to solder. And so I keep seeing these cool soldering kits, and I'm like, what would make that soldering kit even better? I know it's got a little flexi light there, but if I had the fucking lights on my fingers, and then as I'm soldering, I'm fucking lighting it up
There you go.
because I'm a fucking douche.
I I by the way, I went and I looked it up. It's called a I don't know. This just shows it as a Cobalt rechargeable, and now they go anywhere from $150 to $300.
Dude, fuck. What the fuck? That's the problem. But see, that's the problem is companies make good things, and then they just stop, and then people are like, oh well, this was really good. Let me go get another one. And since they stopped making them, then they go up to $8.2 billion, and then you can't find any good one, anything for cheap. But you want to get a little fucking dinky fucking LED flashlight, and they're everywhere and useless.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, you're not wrong. All right. So enough about flashlights because that just went.
Flashlights or fleshlights?
Yeah, we talked about that too. Whatever.
Richie's the expert on that one.
Yeah. We'll get his opinion on the next one on that. But no, we talked Christmas music yesterday. Went down some roads with Richie talked Bob Dylan, and we kind of talked our just different takes there, which we've done before on here.
Yeah.
And I think we've done some Christmas movie stuff before, just kind of generalizing in our movie episodes or whatever. But I think it's a good kind of timely, obviously, with Christmas right around the corner. Have you watched any Christmas movies this year, or anything new to you, or things that you watch every year?
Honestly, this year's been really different with all the moving and everything, so I haven't really like done much Christmassy stuff aside from getting the Christmas shopping done. I did watch the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas episode or Christmas special. Really, really well done. Was actually heartwarming, if you can believe that. But it was really well done. I really enjoyed that. I typically will watch Christmas movies while I'm wrapping presents, with the exception of the year that I watched the Happy Time Murders. But that's when that's when I watched Krampus. I want to watch I like the movie. Obviously, Christmas Vacation is on everybody's list. Christmas Story, I like, but I'm so burnt out on it because it's everywhere.
Right.
Elf, I've watched because my mom watches it like anytime it's on TV. And so I've seen it at least twice through bits and pieces. I've seen it twice so far this season. One that I really want to watch, and I own it, and there's two movies that I want to watch, and I own them, and I have not seen them yet, is Office Christmas Party with Jason Bateman.
Mm-hmm. I've seen it.
And Bad Santa 2.
I've seen that too.
Have you?
Not this year, but I've
watching?
seen them within the last couple of years. What's that?
Are either of them worth watching?
Yeah, they're both worth watching. They're both really
Okay.
funny. Bad Santa 2 doesn't, obviously to me hold up near Bad Santa. That's hard to That's hard to
Yeah.
beat. But it's a good sequel. I mean, it's worth watching. It's not a terrible
I mean,
movie.
I'm not gonna lie. Part of the draw to that movie to me was Christina Hendricks is in it.
Yeah,
So
I mean, look, Billy Bob Thornton is still the same dirty old man Santa Claus. Look. I mean, if you can appreciate his humor, then it's worthwhile. If you can't appreciate his humor anywhere near than the first one, then it's not worth your time. That's basically it. You know what I mean? Um, the Office Christmas Party one, that was pretty good too. I like Jason Bateman. So I don't really have any reservations watching it. Look, I don't go into those movies thinking it's going to be awesome. I go into them thinking I'm going to get a good laugh out of it, and that's basically where I stop with it. It's not like I'm sitting there going, this is the going to be the 4.5-star movie.
cinematic masterpiece.
Right? No, I mean, it's a good flick to not quite a popcorn movie, but I've seen a lot worse. I'm trying to think this year. I really haven't watched.
Candy cane movie.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's some stuff that's like just outlandishly bad. I'm trying to think this year. I got my Home Alone watching. Always have to watch that at least once. Did my Christmas Vacation one. Actually, it's funny. We did that when I was on my way back from Chicago. We kind of loaded that up because I wasn't driving, so got to load that up and watch that in the car, which is pretty funny. So we had surround sound, so why not?
Yeah.
So that was cool. Got that in. And look, I'm gonna say this. I'll probably get beaten up by somebody at some point for saying this. I love Christmas Vacation. I think it's a fantastic movie, but I have two things to say on that one. One, the original Vacation is better, and two, Home Alone is a superior Christmas movie. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just gonna let the horde with the pitchforks and fiery torches decide that one. I'm not gonna say anything one way or the other.
That's fine. I will live and die on that hill.
I've got a question for you.
Go
Die
for it.
Hard.
Oh, easy Christmas movie.
Okay.
And the only reason
Die
why
Hard, and I'm gonna counter. Die Hard is not a Christmas movie.
okay. The fact that it's set around Christmas and then he's trying to be home with his family for Christmas doesn't make it a Christmas movie.
Nope. Let me tell you what it is. It's a Harry Potter movie.
No, because Alan Rickman.
Yep. Sneaking around on Christmas, trying to get away from Alan Rickman. It's a Harry Potter movie.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I consider it's really funny to me because I consider that a Christmas movie, but I think because it's one of my all-time favorite movies, period, that I still, and I'll double speak on this. It's one of my all-time favorite movies, period, but it's also not my favorite Christmas movie. And I think because I have such a liking for Home Alone, it's really, really hard for me to like get beyond that movie as being the ultimate Christmas movie.
Yeah,
and a couple reasons why on that one. One, the cast is absolutely fantastic. It's one of the best cast movies of all time. It really is. The music is fantastic. It really encapsulates every single moment. The one-liners that you get, with Uncle Frank, and all the other stuff in that. It's just, I don't know. It's otherworldly. That movie came out when we were kids, when we were very impressionable. I saw that when I was basically, that movie came out and I was Kevin McAllister's age. Like that was, you know what I mean? Not really. He's really in real life a little older than me.
Right.
But because of like that reason, it's like, that could be me. That stuck with me since 1990. So of course that's going to be, of course that's the rationale I have to say, to me, that's a better Christmas movie, in my opinion, than Christmas Vacation, because that's my even though Christmas Vacation came out the year prior, it catered at that point to a different audience. I was 7 when that movie came out. And I don't get me wrong, I love it.
Yeah.
It's really high up there for me. But I tend to find that like people that are a tad older than me, or maybe touching 50 or whatever, that's their Christmas movie. Whereas for me, it'll always be Home Alone. Maybe if that's just a kid at heart, I don't know.
Now I'm going to bring this all back to where we typically start our podcast. So I specifically remember seeing that at the General Cinema 6 in Deptford, the one that was south of the mall, which was considered by some to be the inferior to the AMC 8.
Yeah, only because it had 6 screens instead of 8.
Right. Or I'm sorry, maybe it was. Is it west of the mall or is it south of the mall? I can't remember.
I don't know. I'll be honest with you. Directionally, it would be next to the mall.
Yeah, next to the mall. All right, so next to the mall. So, but I remember seeing it there with my whole family and my grandmother and my grandfather, right? And I specifically remember because we went after that, and we went to, and I can't remember the name of the fucking place. But I want to say it was on 322 down closer to the shore. But they always had like because I used to pass it all the time when I would drive to and from Stockton.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nursery, but they would always have these big Christmas displays. And I remember my grandmother talking to me about the Jersey Devil in the car ride, asking me if I'd ever seen him.
Nice.
So
nice.
See, it all ties back together.
Yes, bring the cryptid back.
Yeah, it all ties back together. It's just, the only thing we need is Johnny Bench and the Chupacabra.
That's right. And see, friends, that's long-term storytelling.
Right. WWE could learn a thing or two from us.
That's right. Only, maybe 7 or 8 people understand what we just said, but,
yeah,
that's why you have hours of content to listen to.
That's right. And you can check out hours of content from us at multiple websites, including alwaysbechupacabra.com, chupacabrafordicks.com, doyouLikeBears.com, bigbeefyshootyboys.com, schwarberfest.com, and many, many more.
Have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and
a Happy Kwanzaa.
Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Chanukah, happy Hanukkah, happy Solemn Festivus, and anything else that you fucking heathens celebrate.
Yeah, I don't know. Just as long as you're enjoying yourselves. How about that?
Exactly. Whatever you celebrate, have a fucking good one.